Here at the Career Academy, there's a wide variety of programs and classes for any student that wants to get a head start onto their future. Today, we're going to be talking to Mr. McKinstry in his software development class to hear about the ins and outs of programming. From coding to virtual reality, there's anything for anybody that wants to dive into the world of digital art. All right, it's nice meeting you. So, describe software development for me.
Well, that's a big get. Software development basically starts at the ground up. Our class, we learn how companies do things. So we learn how to, we start with some basics of how companies work, what they're working on, how they get to that point. Then we learn how to actually write software. We're learning the Python programming process right now. So we're learning Python as a language and how we can learn the logistics or how everything works as it goes together to develop a program. Once we're done with that, and then it kind of becomes a how do we deploy it, how do we use it. So we're going to also add some front-end web development stuff and web app things like that, which is what most software is now anyway, to make it easier for everybody to use.
Okay.
Students seem to, they like the fact that it's easy in some points, and then they have to struggle in others and to find answers. There's a ton of answers out there. It's just you know how to find those answers. And that's also part of that process is teaching how to find an answer if you don't know the actual answer you won't have right on.
Yeah, of course. It adds for like a little bit of a challenge with that then.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what would you say is the main goal at the end of the year for you and your students? What would you say is the main thing that you want there to be the takeaway for everybody, and even for yourself, what would you say the main goal is?
All right. There's a couple big projects we do, and that's always nice to see those kind of come to fruition and get those done. But really, I actually tell my students the day that they walk in that my class is the easiest A they're ever going to get. All they have to do is get online, go to GitHub, and find somebody that will take something that they wrote and incorporate it into one of their open source projects. That's an ultimate goal for me. I've never had a student do that yet because that's not really easy. But I think that'd be really cool for something like that to happen. That'd be like my big shiny moment for me, is if I had a student do that. But really, I think it comes down to they get here and they learn that they can do this, that learning a language isn't isn't easy, but with the work that they put in, they definitely can do that, and they enjoy it. If this is something that they want to do. The worst thing that could happen is I have a student that comes to my class, decides they want to do is go to a 4-year school, take all that debt that ends up coming with that, and then they come back to me and go, I wish I would have known that this is how this works because I don't like it. I just want them to make sure that they know kind of how everything works and what's going on. That's my big goal. And I think that's a good takeaway. Yeah, they get some language experience. They get a lot of project experience, which I think is really big. And every company we talk to, that's what they talk about is project experience. Can you show what you know how to do? They get a lot of that. But I think the big goals, like I said, for me, are making sure that they understand that they like this and they want to do it, or they don't like it and they don't want to do it as well.
So for my final question, what would you consider your favorite unit to teach or your favorite project? What would you think is the thing that you have the most enjoyment presenting to all of your students you have, whether it be your year 1 or your year 2 students?
Truthfully, I don't really have a favorite unit, I don't think. I think I have a favorite part of the class, and that's when the students get to go work on their own projects.
Okay.
And seeing them passionate about something. Watching, you're going to meet Brennan in this interview, watching him just really light up every time he talked about the project in our morning meetings and that he was working on things like that. Or those students that get to go out on an internship and come back to class because talk about in that morning meeting what they're working on, and their eyes light up about how they're doing this and that kind of stuff. So those are my favorite moments. We try to make it as interesting as we can. The hardest part about the class is you sit at a computer all day, but that's what the job is. So that's really, that's what it kind of entails. So that's really the hardest part. So we were even flexible with things like, hey, I understand I'm the same way. I got to get up and move around and do some other stuff too. So we were pretty flexible with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, so what would you say a typical day in software development looks like for you?
Sitting at that desk, reading what Mr. McKinstry wants us to do, pretty much watching a bunch of tutorials, trying to write our own code, and see if it works. If it doesn't, go back in, do some research, see what we can do to make it work. That's pretty much it. Rinse and repeat.
Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun though, especially if you get to do more like the hands-on stuff or get
Oh,
into
yeah.
different projects and everything.
It's so satisfying when you can get it to work, like especially if you're having trouble with it before and then you finally get that one thing that fixes all of it. It's so satisfying and makes me feel so happy.
All right, so is there anything in particular you really want to know before the class, before the school year ends? Like anything that you really want to dive into?
So basically, I'm just looking forward to learning my own language. Like right now we're learning Python. And I like it, it's very analytical, it has to do a lot with like data and stuff. Oh, my mess, sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah. It has to do like with data and stuff like that. But I kind of just want to like work on something, new, and I just want to, learn something aside from what we're learning right now.
Right, like kind of just go down your own pathway,
Yeah.
like anything pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, but Python is really cool though. I mean, it has to do a lot with data, a lot with like lists and stuff. Oh, and also like we're working on projects like towards the end of the year. So I also like want to see myself doing something a lot bigger than what I'm doing right now. Because right now we're just working on like little tiny projects, and I kind of just want to see myself advance into that.
Yeah, I get it. Mr. McKinstry made a lot of the Python stuff sound pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely like very beginner friendly.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I just want to see myself get into the more challenging stuff. But in order to do that, I have to start small.
There you have it, folks. It was really interesting to hear about all of the different aspects of software development from Mr. McKinstry and his students, and it seems like a wonderful class to take to learn more about the world of programming. Maybe you'll even consider software development for your future.